Beneath a blazing sunset, the Umbrian hills cradle the solitary figure of a man. Giovanni, silver-haired, his face etched with hardship, walks with a worn staff, his eyes brimming with sorrow. On April 21st, 2025, news of Pope Francis's passing sweeps across the globe, shattering the hearts of 1.4 billion faithful. In his small Assisi home, Giovanni hears the news through a crackling radio, his hands trembling, tears falling silently. The Holy Father was the man he met just once, 20 years ago, in Buenos Aires. When Giovanni was drowning in despair, his wife and child lost to a tragic fire, the Holy Father, then Jorge Bergoglio, pressed a handwritten prayer into his palm. "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace." Those words rekindled a light in his soul, guiding him through darkness. Now, with the Pope gone, Giovanni, without car or coin, has only his feet and a vow. He begins a 130-kilometer trek to St. Peter's Square to bid farewell to the man who awakened him. Through rain and hunger, he carries the prayer, now tattered, like a flame to guide his way. Have you ever lost someone who gave you a reason to keep going? Inspired by Pope Francis's boundless compassion, this is a story of a journey, a promise, and an awakening that changed a man forever. Buenos Aires, 2005. Narrow alleys choke with smoke and sorrow. Giovanni, 35, stumbles through the shadows, a bottle in hand, his face gaunt with grief. 3 months ago, a fire stole his wife and infant son, leaving him with a shattered heart and a faith in tatters. "Where was God when I needed him?" he whispers, eyes wet, his soul heavy with blame. He drifts through slums, a ghost of himself, days blurring in a haze of liquor and guilt. One afternoon, in a crowded plaza, Giovanni's gaze catches a simple priest surrounded by the poor. It's Jorge Bergoglio, not yet Pope, but God's light shines through his eyes. Giovanni, drunk and desperate, lurches forward, voice trembling. "Why does God let me suffer?" The crowd draws back, but Bergoglio steps closer, hands resting on Giovanni's shoulders, his gaze an embrace of the soul. "You are not alone," he says, his voice warm as a prayer. From his cassock, he pulls a scrap of paper, scribbling the prayer of St. Francis. "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace." He hands it to Giovanni with a whisper, "Read this and let God guide you through the dark." That night, by flickering candlelight, Giovanni reads the words, tears falling, feeling a spark pierce his pain. The prayer becomes a flame, guiding him to quit drinking, move to Assisi, and rebuild his life. He keeps the paper close, a vow to the priest who saw him when no one else did. Now, hearing the Holy Father has passed, Giovanni knows he must walk to Rome to honor the man who awakened him. When has someone seen you, even when you felt invisible? Rain lashes the Umbrian hills, cold wind biting, but Giovanni presses on, his boots torn and soaked. On April 21st, 2025, he began his 130-kilometer trek from Assisi to Rome, carrying the Holy Father's handwritten prayer. 5 days pass, through muddy paths, hunger and exhaustion gnawing at his body. "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace," he murmurs, the tattered paper in his pocket, a flame warming his heart. A farmer stops his cart, offering bread. "You're walking for the Holy Father, aren't you? Keep going." Giovanni nods, eyes stinging with gratitude, and marches on, each step a tribute. On the morning of April 26th, St. Peter's Square emerges, teeming with souls. 250,000 faithful, from farmers to world leaders like Trump, Biden, Prince William, and Macron. The funeral mass begins, bells tolling, choral hymns soaring like prayers. Giovanni, filthy and weary, weaves through the crowd, seeking no seat, only to be near the Holy Father one last time. He kneels at the square's edge, pulling out the paper, reading aloud, "Where there is despair, let me sow hope." His tears mix with rain, voice trembling yet strong, as if the Holy Father hears him. A young nun nearby watches, her gaze gentle. "You've come far to be here, haven't you?" she asks softly. Giovanni nods, showing the paper. "He gave me this when I had nothing left." The nun touches the prayer, recognizing the Holy Father's handwriting, and whispers, "This is a miracle of mercy." The crowd begins to notice, some weeping, others clasping hands, moved by this weathered man. A priest bows his head. A child looks up, their hearts stirred by Giovanni's journey. He feels the Holy Father's presence, through the paper, through God's love, as vivid as the day he was saved 20 years ago. Have you ever pushed beyond your limits, just to say, thank you? St. Peter's Square falls into sacred silence, the choir's hymn fading, sunlight piercing clouds to touch 250,000 souls. Giovanni kneels at the square's edge, the prayer paper in his hands, the Holy Father's handwriting a flame igniting his heart. Suddenly, he understands. This journey wasn't just to say goodbye, but to see that his suffering, the loss of his wife and child, years of despair, was shaped by God into a path to grace. The prayer of St. Francis wasn't just words, but a compass the Holy Father gave him to live as God's instrument. Tears stream down, not from sorrow, but from profound gratitude. He recalls Buenos Aires, Jorge Bergoglio's gentle eyes, the words, "You are not alone," that pulled him from the abyss. Now at the funeral, he feels the Holy Father's presence, through the paper, through God's love, guiding him once more. The nun beside him takes his hand, whispering, "You carry his light as he carried Christ's." A young girl approaches, placing a white rose in Giovanni's palm. "For the Holy Father," she says, eyes sparkling. Giovanni sets the rose on the ground, a vow to live the prayer of St. Francis, sowing hope amid despair. The crowd around, from pilgrims to world leaders, begins to weep. A priest raises his rosary, a mother holds her child, their hearts stirred by Giovanni's quiet faith. His pain, his journey, now a flame lighting the square, a testament to the Holy Father's compassion. Have you ever realized your pain was part of something greater? Clouds part over St. Peter's Square, soft sunlight embracing Giovanni as the funeral mass draws to a close. He rises, the prayer paper in his hand, the white rose at his feet, his heart lighter than ever before. The 130-kilometer journey wasn't just a farewell to the Holy Father, but proof that his suffering, the loss of his wife and child, years of despair, was shaped by God into light. The prayer of St. Francis, a gift from the Holy Father 20 years ago, is now the flame guiding his life. Back in Assisi, Giovanni opens his small shop, turning it into a haven for lost souls. He shares the prayer of St. Francis with the suffering, from the jobless to a mother grieving her child, as the Holy Father once did for him. Each night, he sets the paper by his bedside, whispering, "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace." This story isn't just Giovanni's, but ours. Pope Francis, with boundless compassion, taught that a single act can illuminate a life. Pain is not the end, but a path to love and faith. We are all pilgrims, carrying wounds, but also light to share. What small act helped you find hope in the dark? Who's waiting for you to be their instrument of peace today? Moved by Giovanni's journey and the Holy Father's compassion, let's spread his light together. Has a small act ever helped you through pain? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. What would you say to the person who brought you hope? If you believe one small act can change a life, type yes with reverence below. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories of faith and mercy. Share this video with someone who needs to know their pain has purpose. Together, let's carry the Holy Father's light to every heart. Who will you comfort today?